Janie. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. Today is my June wrap-up. I did really well, actually, this month. I read, well, it would have been 13 books, but one of them was a do not finish, or did not finish. So, it was also my Why Have I Not Read These Books challenge, and I picked 7 books for that, and the one I didn't finish was one of those. And then I just added a few other ones on top because I had time to read them. So let's get started on that. The very first book that I read was Cop Town. It was a review book from NetGalley by Karen Slaughter. It's her very first standalone book. I've really been enjoying her Will Trent series. Cop Town, I gave it a 4 stars because it was really a good book, but it was really different because it seemed like all the cops were bad cops. And you kind of have to even that out, I think, a little bit. So that part was a little bit annoying, but other than that, it was a decent read. I liked our main character, who was not the bad cop, but yeah, it was okay. I gave it a 4 stars. It was exciting. It was fast-paced. It was very fluid. I really enjoyed that part of it. The next book I read is With Their Eyes. This was edited by Annie Thomas, and what this was is Annie Thomas wanted to do a play, and she interviewed these people, the students, the teachers, maintenance of the school that was at Ground Zero. The school was Stuyvesant High School, and it was just a few blocks away from the actual everything that was going on. So all the interviews were like word for word for the play, and it got a little annoying because all the ums and the oohs and the stutters and the silence and everything was included in the book. So that got a little bit annoying. I also didn't think it was as in-depth as I expected it was going to be. So that was kind of a little disappointing. And it was more about these people's feelings and what they were feeling. It was not actually really that much about what happened. So it covered what they were feeling at the time of 9/11. I rated this a 2 star because it was really just okay for me. The next one I read was Or Give Me Death. This was the story of Patrick Henry's family, and I really quite enjoyed this. It starts out that Patrick Henry's wife was a little cuckoo. She had this thing where she went a little bit crazy, and they locked her down in the cellar. And it is the whole family's account of this, and it was really very good. I'm not sure how much is fiction and how much was real. I gave it 3 stars. It was pretty enjoyable. It didn't blow me away, but I still really enjoyed the book. The next one I read was The Vow. This is by Kim and Cricket Carpenter. This is basically a story about this couple. They were so in love, and they had an accident, and she was severely injured. And it's a story from that on. There's a lot about faith and God and that kind of stuff. It was a really good story. It really was, and it showed great faith in their lives and how that helped them get through what they were going through with this accident, and Cricket being hurt so badly. So I really did enjoy this book. I gave this one a 4 star. I have not seen the movie, so I would really like to watch the movie. I think we have. I'm not for sure, but I'm going to make sure I get around to watching it. The next one I read is Recovering Charles. This book is about this guy who discovers a little bit more about his father. His father was a drunk, and he always called him when he needed something. They never had like a relationship where they would just get together and do things. His dad was always wanting something from his son, whether it be money or a place to hold up for a week or whatever. And it was really growing old. And this is pretty much that story between this father and son, and I really, really enjoyed it. I gave this book a 4 star. Next one I read, why do I keep saying we read? Next one I read is When Mockingbirds Sing by Billy Coffey. This one was okay. There's a little girl who has insight in this town, and she talks about seeing a person called the Rainbow Man, and he tells her things that are going to happen. She draws pictures. These pictures come to life. People start getting a little freaked out. They want the family to leave, and it's just really, everything's being disrupted because of this. Nobody believes that there's the Rainbow Man. A lot of them think that, you know, maybe she's just making things up and the pictures are coincidental and yada yada yada. I really did enjoy this book. Like I said before, the other ones, it didn't wow me, but it was an interesting read. I did give it a 3-star rating, so it is definitely worth picking up and reading. There was a little bit of creepiness to the book. I mean, not enough to, you know, make me want to reread it, but it was decent. I rated it a 3-star. I think I already said that. When Mockingbirds Sing. The next one I threw in, Please Stop Laughing at Me, and I was reading it at the same time I was reading The Light Between Oceans. So I will go and talk about this one first since I finished it first. I thought this was a fantastic book. I rated this a 4-star. This is the story of Jody Blanco and being bullied. And I posted a review. I will link to that in the description below because I'm not going to get into all that on this video. But it really is a great must-read book. The consequences of bullying and this and that, and how these bullies, they just seem to get to bully. And then they get to grow up and they get to forget that they ever did it. And they get to forget those people they've hurt. This was Jody Blanco's way. This book was her way of dealing with it. I wanted the ending to be a little bit different than it was. But overall, the story was great. I just love Jody. I love her ability to carry on, and that's all I'm going to say. I got the review below, so go watch that review. But it is a must-read. It's a great book. The next one was Light Between Oceans. I rated this one 3 stars. This one is a husband and his wife are they're on this island. What do they call that place? It's in Australia. Anyway, they're on this island where the lighthouse is. He's a lighthouse keeper, and his wife has suffered, I think it was 3 miscarriages, and she hears a baby on the wind, and sure enough, there's a boat docked on the beach with a dead man and a baby, and she somehow convinces him to allow her to keep the baby, and the story goes from there. I liked the book, but I really didn't like the characters. I didn't like her because she thought that it was okay to steal a baby. And he was just easily wrapped. And he didn't stand up for what he believed was right. So the story just, it goes on from this experience with finding this baby. I rated this a 3-star simply because I didn't like one of our main characters. I actually didn't really like either one of them because he was kind of weak. And she could make him do anything, and, you know, whether it was right or wrong. So anyway, it's definitely worth the read if you want to read it. This is by M.L. Stedman. I didn't say that before. So yeah, it is worth the read. So I don't remember if I did a review on this one or not. But if I did, I will post it in the description below. The next one is Any Bitter Thing by Monica Wood. This is my did not finish. I didn't rate this book because I don't think I have the right to rate it if I don't finish a book. But it was just really dry and boring to me, and I kept hoping it was going to pick up. I was almost halfway through the book, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So, yeah. You can always pick it up and try it for yourself and see if maybe you can see things differently, but it was just not a book for me. The next one I read was Dark by Angie Sage. This is book number 6 in the Septimus Heap series, and I loved this book. I actually really am enjoying the entire series. One more to go. I still have to get it. It's fire. I actually have it in my Amazon cart. I'm waiting for the time. I was going to order it this last week, and I didn't. Maybe I'll do it today. I got an email today saying, oh, you left this in your car. I'm like, oh, oops, okay. Maybe I'll get that order today. But This is really an enjoyable series, and like I've said a million times already, it's like a downgrade of Harry Potter. It's not quite as intense as that. So yeah, I rated this one a 4-star, and I really enjoyed it. The next one I read was Alice in Zombieland. I do have a review of this, and I will post that in the description below. Loved this book so much. I learned about this from Kieran, and he was going on about how much this book delighted him and how good it was, and it was fantastic. So I finally decided to pick it up. I had this book for a few months, so I finally decided to pick it up, and I was so happy that I picked it up. Loved the characters. I loved everything about this. I loved the spin on zombies, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because I figured it was going to be a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. I'm like, well, how are they going to throw zombies in there? But it's nothing about Alice in Wonderland, just that the character's name is Alice, and there is a pretty cool thing they do with the rabbit. So if you want the whole review, click on the link below, and you can see the whole review of Alice in Zombieland. I gave this a 5-star. And then on my Kindle, I'm not going to open this up, but on my Kindle I read Obsidian. Loved it. Loved it. Story on aliens. I have the whole series on my Kindle, so I will be finishing that up hopefully this year. I will get all of those read. Obsidian was fantastic. I've not read any alien books, so this was pretty good, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. So I definitely recommend that for anybody who likes alien stories, and I can't wait to get to the next book. And then the last one I read was The Murder Farm, also on here. It was a book for review from NetGalley. I have to say one thing about it was the air of creepiness. There was a nice air of creepiness to the story, and I really enjoyed that. But that was about it. This book, there was a family, the Danner family is murdered in the farm, and this is really just the characters' narration of their accounts with the Danner family before the murder. And I solved the murder halfway through the story, so it was very predictable. And I gave it a 2-star because, yeah, I think it really had a good premise, and it was definitely plot-driven rather than character-driven. Like I said, it had a very creepy air, and I liked that. 2-star. I guess you can read it for yourself and decide. And that is my June wrap-up. Like I said, I did fairly decent. So my July is not going to be quite as good. It's not going to be quite as full. But if you've read any of these books, guys, let me know in the comments below and what you thought about them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.